Okay. Then this is where I can really nerd out. One of my favorite things to do to work on settings is immerse myself in research and make the internet work for me. Some of us love research, but I know not all of us do. Oh, yay, there's more. I've seen the chatter in Slack, and I feel like people either love it or don't love it. And this could be a whole thing, like 3 separate talks just on research. But I'm going to show you guys what I do, and then I want you to tell me what you do, because I always want new ways. I think we all always want new ways, right? So research is how you create settings that don't exist, or you figure out how to write a time that you've never experienced, or write about a place that you've never been, right? That's all research. And there's so many avenues open to us in this day and age. We're so lucky. The first book I ever wrote, it's this picture right here of the hoodoos, or the fairy chimneys, which are in the Montana Badlands. I've never been there. I don't know what that environment feels like. So the whole book takes place there, though, for the most part. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So the very first thing I ever did back in 2013 was go onto Google Maps and grab the little orange guy and bring him down to this state park, Makashika State Park there, and drop him in. And I don't know if you guys have done that, but that is, and then you can actually walk through from like a pedestrian or a personal level of any space, right? It's amazing. So that's one sense. That's sight. So I could see what it looks like, but we're writers, we're smart, we can extrapolate. So I was able to take that little walkthrough from the little orange guy and be like, okay, it's dry, it's hot, it smells dusty. I bet the grass is brittle and cuts at her skin when she's running through the park. I bet the ground is super crumbly. Every time they're looking for something, it's probably really hard to dig fossils there, actually. That's what happens in that book. So Google Earth was my first thing that I learned, and I've done it on every book since. However, this is what I learned. I have a contemporary romance series, the All In series, and it takes place or it centers around space tourism. It's not sci-fi. It's like Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic kind of thing. So the whole series centers around that, but I'll come back to that in a second. Anyway, so I'm going to go do my Google Earth thing, because one of the very first settings is in Guangzhou, which is up here on the right, a place that I've never been. But it was really important to me, as this guy is walking through his city, that I know what it looked like. So I go to do my Google Earth, but you know where you can't do Google Earth is China. And now I know that. So you go there and it looks like white blocks, like Legos. They will not let you see what their cities look like. So I was like, great. Like, I want to know, are the sidewalks well kept? How tall are the trees? How big are the buildings? Are their bridges nice? Like, I don't know any of that. And you can Google Guangzhou, but that's not what you're going to find. You're going to find big skyline images and things like that. So I was stuck on like the very first scene in that series. It was such a bummer. But then I remembered hashtags. So like, I'm a writer and I use Instagram as my platform, and I use hashtags to bring people to me. And I had forgotten that I can use hashtags for myself too. So that's what I did. And I'm sorry if I sound very excited, but it was like mind blowing to me to remember that hashtags can work for me too. So I did hashtag Guangzhou, or like hashtag Guangzhou nightlife. And it completely opened the world to me, because it was people. It was people at night markets. It was people in clubs and on the street just doing their thing. And it was amazing. So now I do hashtags too. That's part of my research process, because it's just a different perspective than what you're going to get from Google Earth, or even just, travel articles, things like that. And this is all place, but it applies to other aspects of setting as well. The biggest research piece I've ever done for any book was for the All In series. And it was the most important setting to me in that series is the space plane itself. Everyone in that series has something to do with it, and the whole series builds up to their launch as a company. So it was critical to me that I get that setting right, even though I've never been in a space plane. My readers have never been in a space plane. Does anyone care? No one's going to know the difference. I mean, that's kind of my argument to myself sometimes, but I care. That's part of my integrity as a writer. Also, this is why I write about subjects that interest me, because I know I'm going to spend time researching them. For every hour I write, I think I spend 10 to 20 minutes researching. But the saving grace for that, for the space plane, was YouTube. Like hours and hours and hours, not exaggerating, on YouTube, watching videos of all of these space companies, what words they use, how they describe what it feels, obviously what they see. Looking at the Earth from the outside was critical to describing that setting. So all of that, love YouTube. Hope you guys love YouTube too. There's like nothing you can't find on that platform. So highly recommend YouTube, Google Earth, using hashtags to your advantage. Obviously, we have books. We were just talking about this last week. Historical books, you can rely on stuff like that. I have the How to Be a Victorian here and How to Be a Tudor if you're writing historical. There's some really fun things out there. And lately, what I've been doing to write the different cultures, because like Anya said, I try to work in different cultures in every one of my books, is watching TV. And that sounds so simple, but Netflix has so many great shows in other languages and from other cultures. So it's really interesting that you can pick up what people are wearing and what they're eating, how they decorate their homes, the slang that they use. All of that comes from movies and TVs that are not made by people in your own culture. It's just a different way to broaden your horizons when it comes to deepening your settings. And none of this is wasted time, I don't feel. I think the point is you're immersing yourself in the research, and that translates. Like you're never going to have a one-to-one. I read this is going to happen in my book. That's not how it works. But everything you do, everything you immerse yourself in bleeds out of you when you're writing, and your readers will feel it. They will sense it. So it's always worth it, I think.